Hello my friends, today I'm going to talk about Korean summer vacation spots at Jeju Island. And before we dive in, I'm sorry I have been very busy with my other things in life, so I have been quite not online recently. So, Jeju Island summer vacation idea as well. As you know, it's an island, so you have plenty of beaches to go. As it is also part of Korea, it also means that some countries have a visa waiver program, which means that you can potentially stay over 90 days without a visa. Of course, there might be some different regulations now due to post-COVID, but that is something that we just have to live with. So, Jeju Island is a popular destination getaway from busy city life, and I agree with this as someone who have spent time living in London, where are some minor parks, but they're not that great. So as I would say, this island, well, I visited Seoul a few years ago, and it was quite busy. Transportation network was excellent, but the life pace was very busy. You could see it. People were rushing everywhere, and they were too busy to have time for themselves. But back to topic. It's very easy to get to Jeju Island as it's part of Korea. You can travel there very easily from Busan, or you can catch a flight from one of the major airports. But as I said before, because it's part of Korea, they have visa waiver program. So, for example, if European citizens would go there, they would just go to Korea for 90 days without a visa. They could travel the mainland Korean peninsula, and then they could just catch a flight to Jeju Island before they leave and spend some time there, and then just catch a flight to go back home before the 90 days is over. And vacation spots where you could spend your night, such as hotels and resorts, they are not in short supply either, or Airbnbs, because Jeju Island has quite a large population. It means that it is quite easy to find lodgings. However, you must keep in mind that it is still that part of Asia where the English might not be the main language, so not everyone can help you with directions. So please keep that in mind and have some sort of translations, such as translation programs, books with words and stuff like that. It does help you. So, my favorite spots on these islands are Sokipo Healing Forest, Hure National Park, Cheonji on Falls, and Jeju Vojion Beach. I'm terrible, sorry about my pronunciations, because, well, again, you can't pronounce place names from different language directly into English because it just sounds bad. But anyway, the first place, well, I liked it because it has a lot of pathways. You can just take a stroll, and you rarely run into any sort of traffic in there because it's one of the national parks, so it's really quiet. And what I like about it, that there is also all sorts of activities. It is also family friendly, so it is quite a nice place to visit. It is also a very good place to take pictures, as is Hure Natural Park. Well, all of these places are very good at taking pictures and stuff like that, but idea being that these are one of my favorite spots to visit when it's summertime, and there is the element of the not many foreigners actually necessarily go there. So when it's peak tourist season, you don't necessarily find place packed with tourists, which is nowadays a problem with quite many places, I think. But now, scuba diving is also one of my hobbies, and if you like extreme sports, scuba diving is must-do activity at Jeju Island. And most likely you are facing language problem again, as very few people they dare to speak English, and that's quite common in Asia, as English isn't their first language, obviously. However, if you have translation apps or word books which you can use for communicating, it's always good. And because Korea has a world fastest internet, these apps have no problem at all of working. You might have some communication problems here and there, but once you go to scuba diving and you are going to dive, you don't use words, you just use the scuba diving sign language, obviously, so you'll be completely fine. As for Google Maps, well, I have run into these problems a couple of times when I was traveling. In Europe, it's completely fine. In America, it's completely fine. But if you travel somewhere else in Asia, such as, well, Korea, China, then those countries have their own navigation apps. For example, Korea, you must consider using Naver Maps or Kakao Maps, because these two map applications, they work way more better than Google Maps. I tried to use Google Maps and it didn't give me enough information, but Naver Maps gave me all the information regarding the public transportation, accurate locations of restaurants, tourist attractions, shops and stuff like that. And for example, scuba diving wise, Songsan Scuba Resort is one of the easiest one to get because it's located in a city, which means that you don't need your own car or any sort of extra transportation arranged, so that is why I like it. And well, in general contrast, Jeju Island, if you want to go to these other places I mentioned earlier, you do need to have your own transportation, or then you are with some sort of tourist tour group company or something like that, because otherwise it is really difficult to get to these places. There is of course public transportation, but it might not necessarily to take you there, so just do that before you arrive. Korean summer food favorites. Bingsu is basically shaved ice, and it is traditional Korean sweet dessert, and it is really good. I 100% recommend it. There are various different places and restaurants, dessert shops, whatever, you can get it quite many places. And my first experience with this was when I visited Korea and I ate it with my friend. It was so good, and it was very refreshing, and it was like 30 degrees or so, so it was really refreshing. And the toppings, you can have all sorts of sweet toppings, but I thought that there is one thing which I had to mention, that one YouTuber ate this thing in, I think it was Lotte Tower once, or some hotel, but they added gold flakes in it. It looked very expensive and fancy, but basically it just tasted as, well, as bingsu would normally taste, so very sweet and tasty, I guess. Then there are naengmyeon noodles, which are basically cold noodles made from sweet potato starch and vegetables and meat, and basically you would put it in a bowl which contains cold liquid, which is kind of sweet vinegary taste. I'm not exactly sure, but well, it is good. I have made it myself many times. It is a very easy dish to make, and if it's a very warm weather, this dish is very refreshing, so I recommend you to try it. You can get it quite easily too if you are in Korea or somewhere which has Korean restaurants. They do serve it quite many places. Then there are chimak, which effectively translates as chicken and beer. This dish is very easy to get. If you are in Seoul, you could spend your time at the banks of Han River, and there are plenty of places in there which will sell this snack. Or if you are at Jeju Island, there is probably some places which also sell this, but I haven't ordered it in there, so I'm not sure. And finally, there is of course ice cream, which is very easy to get everywhere. So there is that. But please bear in mind that not all the ice cream flavors might be familiar for you, which you have. So do not judge that. They have ice cream. I think it was frozen yogurt. It was good too, but it's not for everyone, since you might be allergic or something like that, but you should still try it. As far as it goes, Korean summer spots, well, I'd say your best option would be just go to online, go to Google and Google Korean Tourism Organization, and it will give you the website full of information. You can have it in English or wide variety of languages, if I recall right, but anyway, it gives you wide variety of information of different places to visit, what's on and when, stuff like very useful information from the perspective of tourists. So I do recommend that if you plan to trip to Korea at the summertime, check out the website of Korean Tourism Organization, because it does give you very much information which you need, and this information can be lifesaver. So do check that out.